screen. I don't understand how to... See how it says it? I'm
Are you
doing...
supposed to click go live on there too?
Yeah, I did. I already did this one.
On that.
Oh, maybe? Is that what I have to do?
I think so.
You're live.
It says you're live now.
An error occurred during playback.
Oh, but you're live.
Am I live?
Yep.
An error occurred during playback, but I'm live.
We're doing it live.
Is it live?
Yes.
Okay. Neat.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So I've only been talking for 20 minutes, apparently to no one. I'm learning things. So look at this. Call tech support. Yeah. You ever tried to call someone at YouTube? Doesn't happen. Ain't gonna happen. I've been talking to myself for a little while here. So that's a thing.
Call tech support.
Call tech support. Yeah. Joy. Well, the good news is I screwed up a bunch of stuff and I was confused, and now all those problems seem to have gone away. So thank you for not watching my goof ups and everything else. Yeah. So let me make sure. Wow, look at this. This is all right. Now we're here. Let's get this going. Hey, look at this. The live stream is working here, and here. I'm closing all the crappy windows I have open. Close that. Close. All right. Now we're actually proper live. Wow, look at this. So, I've been talking for 20 minutes thinking I was live streaming, and then I realized I wasn't. So, that's the thing. Ugh. Anyways, let's start this over. Let's start this again. Let's start this right. I am going to ramble and rant about things today. I will start with some errata real quick while a few more people show up. And not that you guys really want to hear about my misadventures of when I'm not here. But I did. And I just wanted to share this stupid story because it entertained me greatly. That's me. I was given a private tour. I got to go places that you normally can't go at the Henry Ford with my wife. One of the Ford tours with a bunch of employees that work for the Henry Ford, which does include my sister. And this is the story that is stupid, but I wanted to share because this is exciting. At least if you're in America, you've heard the term all the bells and whistles. And this car was one of the cars that had all the bells and whistles. And what do you mean by that? And this was, I didn't know this. This is trivia and it's stupid, and then I'll get back to actual talking what I want to talk about. But there are a couple of floor buttons on the car. And what these floor buttons do, and I don't know if it's this specific car or one of these other ones, but this was an amazing tour of these cars. These are all one of a kind. These are the Ford Piquette plant. I tweeted about it earlier because they had Ubiquiti, so there's at least some tech stuff. They did have Ubiquiti Wi-Fi throughout the building, but it's beautiful here. But all the bells and whistles, what it refers to is, if a car has all the bells and whistles, all the accessories, like this is what you want a laptop with all the bells and whistles, they were literal on the car bells and whistles. There was two little floor buttons, and one pulled a little whistle down over the exhaust. So when you're driving a car, because cars were big scary things and they were new in the 1920s, the exhaust would make a whistle noise, similar to like a train but not quite as loud. And then they had a big ringer bell mounted underneath the car, like a big one, and the floor lever would bang the bell. So that was two accessories add-on, but they were also part of like a big package with all the bells and whistles. So that's where that term comes from. And I just was super entertained by that piece of trivia. It was all those stupid little things entertain me from the Ford Piquette plant tour. If you come to Detroit, definitely stop by there, or the Henry Ford Museum. If you're into car history or into a lot of historical things, definitely great. And I'll get off that topic. My sister is a historian and she does do tours there. She's a Model T mechanic, is more or less what she does. If you want to touch, the only Model T you can touch and take apart and play with the motor is the tour that my sister does. So I'll give her a plug there. Anyways, now that we're here and I can rant about things, and there's at least 100 of you to 70 viewers right now. I'm looking at the new dashboard. Here, why not share it with you? This is the new YouTube dashboard for streaming that I didn't understand how it worked until, I don't know, about 30 minutes after I babbled. 72 of you now. There's more of you here. 71, I'm losing people. 68, I'm losing people. Apparently, my story about bells and whistles is causing viewers to drop off. Anyways, I have put some information. How much are the tours? The tours are something, they're published on our website, so what I say now may not be relevant of the time you come, but I think they're like $30 or something for, you just get full access and wander around the museum. So, but do check, because right now they're under a heavy amount of construction, which is unfortunate. I don't know if they have that published, so some of the museum is off limits due to the construction work, but it's still an amazing big museum, and if you're going to be in Detroit anyway, stop by if you're traveling through and things like that. So, do I have a favorite password manager? Equal amount of pros and cons, most of them, so I'm having a hard time picking a manager. Do you use a specific one at home? LastPass is a favorite password manager of mine. I'm a big LastPass fan. I've done a couple videos on it. I'm still using it. I do want to take a look at Bitwarden. It's the pain of switching, and there's nothing wrong with LastPass. Bitwarden has gone through a code audit, so I'm very interested in it. It's open source, which I love, but I just have not taken the time to switch. It's on my to-do list to take a look at it, but I still think LastPass is a common one that I'm comfortable with. But like I said, Bitwarden really looks pretty cool. Do I use tools for survey? Oh, this is my favorite tool. This is a Pixel 2 XL, and it works excellent for doing Wi-Fi surveys. So does this laptop. You're seeing all in one frame my entire kit of how I do this and how I see that. So actually, I don't know why I switched back to that camera view, because let me close this other window anyways. We're going to talk about how to get in touch with Tom, because Tom is exhausted a little bit. All right, make sure the screen, oh cool, I'll make sure everything's in there. Well, a little bit. The studio layout has changed because we changed the way we're doing the studio. I'll comment on that real quick, which is we're rearranged tables, rearranged the building. This side of the building is going to be rearranged because we had originally planned to have events here, so with extra chairs and do training. Never came to fruition. Turned out we couldn't get that many people to physically show up in person for some things, so we're going to hold off on that. We are going to reallocate the space in a different manner, and the space is going to be dedicated more towards studio, so we're enclosing the studio and changing it so we have more room dedicated to that space. That's why things are turned around, but everything's a mess. It's going to take about 2 weeks to build it out, is my guess, which probably, because that's construction talk for a month. It's just going to be a little bit of a mess behind me, and whatever. As long as the content's good, people will keep watching even if it's messy. At least that's what I feel. Make sure I'm keeping up. Papa West, thanks to you. Awesome. Chris did a good video on Papa West as well. Yeah, this dashboard's new and confusing, so we'll go that. So let's keep in touch. You are a few clicks away from engaging with the humans here at LTS, but before you do, let's talk about the best ways to engage with us. No, I have a write-up here. This is all the ways you engage with us. And I try my best to be polite and courteous and reply to emails of, do you still use pfSense? Which I don't know why people send me the email. I can't tell if they're trolling me or why they send it. And I've been replying to them, but I am finally at my wit's end. I just do not have enough time in the day, or it's cutting into me being productive to reply to all said emails. So I've decided just to not reply to people who ask silly questions in email form as opposed to posting in our forums. I'll actually answer silly questions in forums because I think once it's in public view, people don't ask questions like, hey, Tom, you still using pfSense? Maybe. I don't really know. And other times I'm just kind of a smartass, and I'll reply with just a rate. When they ask me a single line question, I'll answer that question for this amount of money because I've made it clear. It is documented on the contact page of our site, what we charge for consulting. That we charge for consulting. Because I've had someone call us too, and we do phone calls. They were angry that I would not just explain to them how to walk them through a firewall setting. I watched your videos. Thank you. That's how I replied, but I'm not going to just sit on the phone for an hour walking you through firewall rules for free. I have no problem giving away a lot of knowledge. I make videos about it so everyone can learn together. That's a huge goal of things, is sharing knowledge and everything else. But at some point, I do have to keep the lights on. And hey, I make a couple bucks from YouTube, but I literally make a couple bucks from YouTube. It doesn't. Our day job is still how I pay the bills. I got mouths to feed, payroll to make on Friday. So yeah, I at some point I run out of time to do that. But we've clearly articulated all this onto our website. We've always adding more on here, including warranty. But I also might put it warranty/guarantee because I just try to nip these phone calls in the butt. But I don't know. A lot of people are very expectant. Like, I want you to guarantee you can solve my problem. No, I will not. I just decline those jobs. Why do I decline those jobs? That's not a rational question. You want me to guarantee that in something that you have made a mess out of and that I can unmess it? A guy called, he had reloaded his drive, thinks he has a backup of his MBR encryption keys and things like that, but doesn't know for certain, and that's why they wanted to call us to help, but only would pay us if we could guarantee the files. They'll pay if we get the files back, but if we can't, he doesn't want to pay. And I said, then call someone else. That's it. And I get some of those calls. So I'm trying to be as clear that I can't provide warranty on this. We just did a call today. Scope of work went way out because what the person sent us an original scope of work and what they wanted done were two different things. And they're like, well, I want all these things done. I'm like, you think just because we've connected, you sent out a clear scope of work, we sent you the bill because all work has to be prepaid and we clearly laid out what we'll do if you want us to go above and beyond. Or if you have something that completely doesn't match what you said I wanted a Unify switch set up, and then you have a Netgear in between. You want all the VLANs added to as well. That's a different configuration. You didn't tell us you had a Netgear. We also had to set the VLANs up on. And you're like, well, I asked you to set up VLANs. Yeah, but you said it's only Unified switches. So we try to be as clear and upfront as possible. But I also just can't reply to some of these weird one-line questions. I get a lot of them. One of my other YouTube friends, actually more than one of them told me this, a lot of people do that just to try and get you to reply to get your email address. Because a lot of these people are emailing sales. And we just leave it in dead air. Steve and me and other people respond to most of the sales emails, mostly me though. But yeah, I've kind of become to the point where I'm not going to spend all day replying to, do you still use pfSense? Do you use XenServer? Someone asked them. Yeah, still using it. Still like XenServer. It's great. I guess I don't know why that's an email, not a forum post. And it is a link in there to our forums, forums.lawrencesystems.com. I'm very interactive there. And if you want to ask one-line questions like, do you use pfSense? I'll type yes back and everyone can see that you asked a one-line question. Now, hopefully your question's more in-depth. And the same thing applies to people who want to Twitter DM me all the time with the same one-liners. Okay, someone DM me like, I'm using Pop! OS. Okay. I mean, I get it. I like to interact to an extent, but at some point, I have to focus. And feel free, tag me in tweets. I like that. That's fine. It's a conversation starter, and a lot of people have done that. Look at my Twitter account. A lot of things are posted publicly to it, and I interact with them. That's something I enjoy. That's actually easier to do, and it becomes a discussion amongst everybody else, which makes me so happy. So that's definitely, yeah. That's definitely a big thing. So let me follow up and catch up on the questions here. We'll switch back to the camera view. I'll say there's 10 people in the chat, like participants. Building pfSense box have a choice of quad NIC or dual SFP NIC. Do you need SFP? SFPs are good. You can use them. Yeah. 4 SFPs on Switch. As long as they're SFP pluses, why bother if they're only SFP? I'll be honest with that. Yeah, people asked, it only took a minute for a tech. Good luck with that. Never let the customer determine the price. Nope. What do you use for payroll? Payroll is done by my accounting firm. Payroll in the United States is complicated and stupid. As on many of our tax laws, if you look up U.S. tax code and you're like, what? That's a write-off? That's an expense? Yeah, and every year, tax day, as we call it, someone posted it got retweeted a bunch, but to describe the way the tax code works in the U.S., you have to pay the IRS a certain amount of money by April 15th of every year. And if you get that amount wrong, they won't tell you what that amount is, but if you get it wrong, you're in legal trouble. And that's just the base of it. Once you get into payroll compensation and all the little taxes that fly out of it, it's super confusing. I have a friend from a foreign country, and I like what he said after he moved here. He said it was so much less confusing, and I think it was Russia, one of the Slavic states, that area. And he's just like, there was only one thing taken out of my check. Now there's so many, I can't figure it out. I'm like, yeah, everything here is complicated. So I use an outside accountant for payroll. So no software on it. QuickBooks is a popular choice. I don't like QuickBooks, but I know it's a popular choice here in the US. You can do payroll through it. For me, full service external accountant, they bless all my books. My other processes for managing the money, managing my books, as in my profit and loss ledger, is KMI Money and Invoice Ninja for the invoicing. What else? Is in Norway, it's normal to pay your employee every month. I pay myself once a month, and everybody else gets paid on Friday. Yeah. So do you use PF Sense? Only on days that end in Y. I can pay an hour of consulting to argue about why the software I use is better. Yes, you can. I don't care. You can buy an hour of my time, or sometimes a half hour of my time, to argue with me. Sure, I'm game. Why not? What do we get here? Turns out that the Gov could calc taxes for. Yeah, I'm all for like eliminating the IRS and just putting a simpler math system in. It's an algorithm, not an AI system. An algorithm could replace our tax code and make it much more simplified. I'm all for that. I don't know that I'll see it in my lifetime. Yeah. Ever had to deal with a customer that you're done a cabling project for and paid materials and some labor, but then change the scope at times and agree to changes, but then they won't pay? Yeah. Yeah, sometimes that does happen. People owe me a lot of money at any given moment. The amount of money that people owe us right now, I don't feel like logging in. It's a lot. That happens. I don't know, maybe 80, 90, $100,000 at least is owed to me now, maybe more. At any given moment, there's always some job that hasn't paid completely. When it comes to the physical labor part and those, any work we do, contract work that we're doing remotely, we only do prepaid upfront. When it comes to the MSP stuff, that's monthly recurring, and that's how that's being taken care of. So it's always those local piecework jobs when you do infrastructure, and like you're saying, those are actually the most common ones that people slow pay on. Some of those, and the break fix contract clients are sometimes that way too. Is the same common sense can't work in government? It's a flat 10% GST. Yeah, it would be interesting. So, yeah, it'd be nice if there was a simpler system. Like I said, it's not my bailiwick to fix that, but it is certainly cool if it existed. I would be excited about it. So we'll definitely say that. What else we got here? Rambling about other things. So I've rambled enough about the contact form and everything else. Contact a human at LTS. I think we got that well covered. What else? There was something else I babbled about, but didn't babble about because it actually wasn't live like it was supposed to be. So that's a thing. But I will talk about hacking. And I want to bring that up because I just did that great interview with Kyle. If you haven't watched it yet, it's a little bit long, but Kyle is CEO of Huntress Labs, and Google his name, a list of other accolades, the least of which being on my channel. So it's definitely, maybe a low point. I'm happy he came on. The guy is wicked smart. We had to schedule the time because he is super busy running Huntress Labs. They're doing really well. It's an amazing product that we use. I'm really happy. We're going to be doing more videos about that and some videos about the product, because one of those things that, between the how they got hacked videos and some of the other things, and Kyle is a winner of DEF CON CTF Championship. Long time, as I joked at the beginning of the video, he's good at playing hide and seek with the NSA completely legally because he was an NSA contractor. Absolutely brilliant malware hunting person. And that's because he has such a good understanding of how to develop and how to defend against these advanced persistent threats. So I want to do some more videos that are deeper dives into that, because when it comes to network security, understanding the tools that would be used against your network is an important aspect. So, I can tell you many practical ways to secure your network. ideally, when you're done with all those practical ways, it's test and verify. Well, how do you test and verify? Well, that's the part I want to get into. I want to get Xavier, and he's a busy guy as well, but to sit down, me and him sit down together, and we walk you through the tools used, and we're going to attack a network, and that network will probably be mine. So we're going to see if Tom's as good as he talks about on YouTube. And we're going to have Xavier poke at my network and figure things out. And he's going to have the infield advantage. He's going to be inside the building, inside one of our networks. And the goal is going to be to escape one of the networks that I assume is locked down and private and see how that goes. Let's see. Have you dealt with M2 NVMe cards and upgrading, fixing PC? Cards? No. But drives? Yes. I guess I don't understand the question. So machines have NVMe now. So yes, we put them in, we replace them, we upgrade them, we load Windows or Linux on them depending on the workstation. Will you be trying the new Ubuntu 24 port and 48 port switch that's in beta? I don't try anything that's in beta, and matter of fact, they have an embargo. If I do try it, I can't talk about it on YouTube until it becomes general availability. So if I do try anything like that, I can't publish anything until it becomes in general availability. Plus, anything in general availability is going to not be the same as what was in beta. So the review has to be based on the whole not beta system. So let's see. So I watched a job estimating real quick. Are you charge $180 for a home run, approximately 50 foot with materials, one jack, one carrier, faceplate, terminating your patch with testing? Yeah, sounds about right. $180. Sounds, yep. Seems a bit low for the service I provide. It's kind of one of those things. It seems low, but a lot of the times this is like the basis for stuff. And sometimes people have us quote on projects. I don't know. I think 200 an hour is reasonable, but yeah, it does vary a little bit. For the most part, that's most of the consulting work. But when you get outside of consulting and like someone contact us today that wants some really specific high-end certificate system, that's actually not something I personally do, but I know exactly who does do this. I know the person who operates that software, so that's going to be a higher quote. So if you ask me to do some particular high-end project, we usually quote a flat rate to get the project done. As long as we have a clear scope of work, and we're not billing it hourly because it's also one of those things that you can't bill it hourly. And let me explain why. We bill for completion. When you want me to build, let's say it was a web application or whatever that framework might be to make something work, that's billed for completion as long as scope of work is clear, and there will be adjustments to scope changes. So those bids become very complicated because you're doing some type of either development or DevOps work where you're standing up a server. And I can't charge by the hour for it because I'm really fast at, if you ask me to set up a pfSense, it would be not worth my time to charge by the hour just in the general setup of a pfSense because I set them up in lickety-split. I do it so much, I just know exactly what to click, so I wouldn't be able to charge you enough. So thank you for saying that might be a little low, but yeah. Preference over Unifier edge switches? I like Unified switches, so who dinged through? Wasn't me. I don't know. The dinging was the TV and the computer, and I don't know why. I think it was the remote connection for something. Oh yeah, Cleveland airport hacked. I seen that in the news. So yeah, question about NVMe was in relation to installing NVMe in older systems. I'm not a hardware expert. I'm not the best person to ask in that at all. All those people that build those computers, Paul's Hardware, all of them, they're great channels, excellent content, a lot of good technical details and not technical details that I have. And also Level 1 Techs. They really get deep on the motherboard on a lot of the stuff that I don't do. So shout out to them if you're really looking for those answers. The forums, Level 1 Tech forums, the hardware forums, and a few of the other like Paul's Hardware and some of those guys are way better and way more detailed about how NVMe works. Let's see. What do you think about bundling firewalls, web filtering as a service for recurring monthly revenue as firewall updates, filter list updates, waitlist management? Lots of companies do it. I mean, that's what Untangle, Meraki's business model is, literally that with their firewalls. I mean, you can do that. I don't know. I guess what do I think? I think everyone's doing it as a business model. How is that a better answer? Immediately to it, it's going to hit the fan. Yeah, good old Windows 1809. Yeah, that's. I have not used Windows since like 8 or 9 years. I'm happy not using it. I just think it's aggravating when people say, well, shouldn't you use the software that your clients use? I'm like, no, that seems stupid. Why would I hate myself? I don't like any of them. So, do you like ePMP? What is ePMP? I'm going to Google that. I don't know what you're asking. ePMP. Oh, Cadmium Networks. Yes. There is a bunch of Cadmium Network stuff on boxes behind me, so yes, ePMP. I did, yeah, the cadmium product. Yes, that's on my to-do list is to review all that. I am behind on such things. I gave a quote to installing Wi-Fi and channeling out their whole internet, and they asked for security cams. Now I'm gonna give them a quote for that. Awesome. How do you compare Ingenious APs to Ubiquiti? I wouldn't bother. Ingenious, I'm sorry. I want to like them, but we've used them. They need a lot of work. The software and everything, it's just, the hardware seemed okay, but the software needs a lot of work. That's probably a good way to describe that. So yeah, Ubiquiti's really got that figured out way better than Ingenious. How do you set up Apache Linux cluster? Oh, have I set up? Are you talking about like a Apache Linux cluster as in like load balanced with a load balancer? I guess I don't understand the question as much. So kind of. I'm not a load balancer. I don't usually set up load balancers. I know people who can and people who do, like a web application load balancing type system. So, okay. I have XCPG and TMDEC, XCPNG 10 gig FreeNAS. You have the following on your vids. How do you update pfSense without the VMs going down? I just hit update. I guess, once again, don't understand the question. Now, this is Sangoma unit. And I figured we'll talk about this. This thing's pretty sweet. Get as close as I can get it without leaning across the table. I gotta admit, this finish is nice. That is really nice, isn't it? Blue, PBX exact etching in here is really cool. I really like it. Yeah, talk about bad software, Nighthawk versus that. Anyways, I mentioned this, and people say weird things, but whatever. I like the comments. Everyone has an opinion sometimes, and I'm always confused by it. And maybe they don't understand how much the phone rings here. But the comment of I didn't want my FreePBX virtualized. I haven't really had any, well, I did have some problems, which I'm going to cover in a different video of, I said I really haven't had problems with FreePBX, and then I had problems with FreePBX, but it was a Red Hat problem, and I solved it, and I want to walk through how I solved it, and it's interesting. But I also wanted it to be a separate hardware box, and the failover is going to be, if that hardware box isn't working, spin up the VM. That's kind of how we're going to handle some of the backup problems we've had for issues. The other thing too is even though XCPNG is great and doesn't need many updates and it's rock solid and we have a few machines back there, I just wanted a way that if we ever wanted, like the time we had to re-rack our servers, I don't mind if the other things we host go down because they're not critical. We don't host websites or anything on there. We host our invoicing on there. If my invoicing doesn't work on a Sunday afternoon, no big deal, but we do like our phones working in case of emergency. So I just wanted it to be a hardware box. Plus, one of the other things, and if you were to buy all the licensing, I wanted to play with a fully licensed, with every bell and whistle, FreePBX. So buying a hardware box gets me all the licenses. And that just seemed like something I wanted to do. I wanted to play around with that aspect of it. So I reached out to Chris, and I did buy this through Chris. He's a FreePBX / Sangoma reseller. I am not, and I don't really plan to be right now. That's not my field of expertise. And, I reached out to him and got this box. I want to set it up and play with it with everything that Sangoma has to offer. That needs switch port security. I guess Edge. I guess what kind of switch port security are you looking for? I mean, you can still turn off. I think you can do with the UniFi authenticated and lock down the MAC address to each switch port. Is that what you're asking? You can do that. I'm pretty sure with the UniFis have that ability. If not, I'm pretty sure the Edge switch has that ability. What kind of switch port security you're looking for? I think you can do with the Unify, maybe I'll do a video on this at some point, like you can set it up so you can have Mac level authentication on each switch port. I believe that's an option in Unify. They've added it more recently too. It's not been there forever. Used to, I think it was a feature of only that switch. Don't quote me on this because I'm not positive. I'd have to dig into them a little bit. Let's see. What else do we have here? What router do you use in a higher end residential small business install? Typically use access points, turn radio, cable modem, and use their router. If residential, I mean, I prefer pfSense even if it's residential, but if not, if you just use the cable modem, it depends on what the use case is. So at home, I have pfSense, and those little smaller pfSense boxes, the SG100s, awesome. I have no problems with them. We've got them deployed. They work great. We've put a handful of them in residential locations, and they seem to be absolutely solid. Do you need to pay for web control panel for XCP-ng? I'm interested in using that in my lab. Yes, no. If you compile it yourself, no. If you don't want to compile it yourself and you want all the bells and whistles and features, yes. So refer back to beginning of video for what bells and whistles are. I would like something better. Maybe I can make more money with. I don't understand that as a question. Then charge more. Or you just want to be a reseller of something. Then go resell Meraki or something. They have a reseller program. It's not about all making money. I know a lot of people think it is, though. iSCSI connection to VM, data pool, XCP-ng. How do you update, reboot FreeNAS without VMs going down? Can you pause them? No, I shut them down. You either have to get redundant iSCSIs across a cluster and set up a SAN, or you have to shut them down. Or you can also migrate them to local storage and reboot FreeNAS and migrate them back to FreeNAS. That's an option too. There's not really any other easy options, but those are the situations. We have local storage on our XCP-ng servers, and that way if we don't want them, if I need something running, but I want to restart FreeNAS, I can migrate them to local storage on XCP-ng, restart FreeNAS restarts, and migrate them back. That's a solution you can do to keep everything up. You can see it's kind of a pain in the butt. Not impossible to do, matter of fact, you can script it as well. That's an option under XCP-ng. You can script the migration process around. So you can say, move it here at this time, move it here at this time, and then reboot the server, and then move it back over at this time. That's actually one of the cool features in there, but yeah. MAC address filtering. Yeah, I think you can do MAC address filtering with the Unify. I don't know. I'll dig into it later. I think you can do that. Actually, I could probably look this up. Let's Google together. Unify MAC address filtering. Oh, look. Solved MAC address filtering with Unify. So it looks like it's somewhere in here. You can do MAC filtering for the Wi-Fi, but not the switches? That's interesting. See, all this is a Google search away. Not the switches. Yep, if you want to use your Wi-Fi. I thought you could do it on the switch too. So at least according to some dude in the forum, you can't. So you can do it on switch. Let's see if there's an answer here. Nope, same answer. So this is a lot of what you can do with all of this, by the way. You can Google almost all these answers. That's also comes back to me not replying to it. I almost want to reply with let me Google that for you, because like some of the questions I do get are completely the first page result on Google. You can do some type of switch. You can do topology change notification. So that's another option there. So I guess you could do that too. You could do topology change notification, so you'll know if someone plugs something in. And then you could probably, at the firewall level, like with pfSense, you could do MAC authentication so they can't get onto the firewall or through the firewall or onto other segmented networks, and you can filter that with pfSense. That is actually an option you could do. So yeah. So anyways, what else we got here? Yeah, Community Edition. Just wondering whether there was a particular reason that you don't use SolarWinds MSP Manager and favor email communication. Do you just not want a ticketing system? Yeah, I don't want a ticketing system. That would be a best answer. So yes, the ticketing problem. People hate being tickets. They don't want, you know what they're used to? Go into the call queue, navigate our stupid call thing, open up a ticket with us, blah, blah, blah. And I don't want to put everybody as a ticket. We reply to everybody as a series of emails. We find it to be effective. Here's the other side of that. And I'm doing an interview with someone about this as well. You get dived into these ticketing problems like that, and these people just feel as though they're another ticket. You don't respond to them. It becomes a burden for both your technicians and the other side of it. And I say that because one of the problems is with all the different technicians, if they spend their time filling out some stupid ticket thing to try to track something, you go to spend some time in our sysadmin, and you'll find all these people going, our ticketing system is so burdensome, the problem took me 4 minutes to solve, and the ticket took me 11 minutes to close. And they end up spending more time sometimes opening, closing tickets and buried in bureaucracy than actually getting work done. That doesn't make anyone happy. And as a matter of fact, it makes you not want to go into the ticketing system. We actually have our own headaches right now with a client because they don't like us to do anything without using their ticketing system. So the burden of someone wanting something done is this back and forth of tickets instead of someone saying, oh yeah, camera 3 was out. Like they have their own, because we work with internal IT teams, and their internal IT team wants everything in a ticket, but then the internal IT team is not very good at replying to tickets, and it's become a joke. So we make sure we do reply to every ticket that we go in their system and do. I hate ticketing systems. I don't like them. I know my clients don't like them, so we don't use them. And we don't have a problem managing a pretty good number of clients and a pretty good business here without a ticketing system. So that's my rant about ticketing systems. Maybe one day, but not today, I'll have one. It's got to integrate so smoothly and not bureaucratically into my workflow that it doesn't inhibit us working. I don't like more tools that inhibit me working. Lots of storage on my XCP&G R710. You have a copycat. Hey, awesome. Hello from Belgium. That's awesome. We got chocolate from there before. I haven't seen our chocolate friend sent chocolate on there, so. Yeah. PFSense multiple networks create VLANs or use physical NIC. Matter of opinion. Well, it's matter of opinion, but it comes down to use case. If I created 20 VLANs with one physical NIC, you got to remember those 20 VLANs, no one VLAN may use more than 1 gigabit at a time. You are sharing the media, the physical layer, when you do VLANs. Therefore, you may run into a bandwidth issue. So that is a concern. And if you have networks, you got to remember they're going to have, if they have to traverse those networks, they're going to have to traverse through that same physical media, and you could have some bandwidth issues. So that comes down to use case. It's not like an easy answer. VLANs are nice. VLANs are a convenient way to segment your network and a great way to help create layers of security in your network. But if each thing needs a gig and you've trunked them across each other across those VLANs, you can create your own hell. So, awesome. All right, what else we got here? Nice tickets. Police give tickets. Tickets are no fun. Yeah, police do give tickets too. What link? I don't see a link above. So, yeah. Need input, Johnny 5. Thank you. So, yeah. I'm probably done babbling for now. I don't think I have anything more to babble about. I could babble on forever, obviously. Do I probably one-on-one training session? Yeah, I have that post on our contact page. If you want to contract Tom, you can. And I'll actually read it word for word what Kyle added to our website. If you would like to request it to consult with Tom Lawrence directly, the hourly rate is $200 an hour, and he is only available weird hours that his staff are not even aware of. So don't just call asking what he is up to. And that's added because those phone calls come in. What's Tom doing? I don't know, Tom things. You may get smart-ass answers out of my staff because you just calling and saying what's Tom doing is not what our phones should be used for. So I'm throwing it out there. I don't give out direct line to me when it comes to phone, or I would never be off the phone. I would just send to voicemail all the time and probably miss some of the other calls and consulting work that I do. So yes, I do have a rate published. That is what it is now. Consult our website and not this YouTube video if you ever want to know what our consulting rates are. Consulting rates may vary. This is what they are as of this moment right now today, but that rate could change, and we're planning on keeping it published on the website. So hopefully that makes it easy. So yes, Are your companies hacked within or more? From within or more external? External, actually external. So, and I guess that's a perspective question maybe. So, loss prevention, LP as it's called in the retail industry, is actually one of those myths where you look at what they refer to as shrinkage, which you take each store every 30 days or whatever their schedule is, they're going to run a shrinkage report, and they want to know how much inventory has been depleted but not paid for, and that's referred to as shrinkage. And LP, loss prevention, will have statistics on this, and they do know statistically a lot of their loss comes from employees internally. So, is that really hacking? If an employee steals, it's just stealing at that point. So now I'm saying this because you could be somewhat splitting hairs. Are companies hacked because they're a high-end contractor and an employee was paid off, but is it really hacking? They had access to details. I do know an instance locally here. They got mad and there was a dispute with one of the employees, and that employee happened to have the whole sales list. And he immediately took that list that was a copy on his laptop, nothing he can really do about it, and then contacted, because, well, he was a sales guy. He has everyone's Rolodex, and then sold that list to the competitor. Is that hacking? I don't know. So it kind of depends on how you define it, but generally it's actually external hacks. So when you look at the Wipro and WePro, whatever you want to call that company, and me and Kyle talked about that, those are all just your standard phishing hack. Use it to exfiltrate data, sometimes for nefarious reasons, other times where one of the details, follow Krebs because he's been blogging about it, Krebs on Security, Brian Krebs. He's talked about it, and we now know what the nature of some of the attack was because $11 million in gift cards was stolen related to the WePro hack. So we know that they were after money, and so that those hacks, it kind of depends on what the target is for how that's going to happen, how that breaks down. So it's both. It's both. They're happening internally because usually a phishing email, some of those are the most common ways that people get hacked. But the other side of it is, yes, just overall companies are getting hacked from internal reasons when they're agencies and they buy off employees and things like that. Also, listen to Darknet Diaries, Jeremy from Marketing, their latest episode. Excellent of an insider threat walkthrough. So, yes. What's next? For the SG1300, SG1100, and home users, does your suggested setup include BF Blocker? Yeah. Plenty for PF Blocker, runs it great. I no problem with PF Blocker. Suricata, it's been on my to-do list to set up Suricata on my one at home. I don't have it set up. I don't need Suricata at home. I was going to do it purely to test it for a video, and I just haven't gotten around to it. So it's on my to-do list. I'm curious how it'll work. I don't want problems. That's why I haven't turned it on. I don't need it at home. I don't even have any ports open at home. Why would I? Hardware refresh for the USG? I don't think so. Yeah. I'm not thinking that there's going to be... Here's the problem, and I love Unify products. I'm a big fan of their Wi-Fi. I'm a huge fan of their switches and their software, and I like it all. But, here comes that but, why don't I use a lot of the USGs? They're too basic. I wish they added more features. And someone's going to point out, but you could edit a JSON file and add all kinds of features. I agree, I could. I'm not going to. That seems difficult. Why would I have this fancy interface that doesn't work for firewalls? I wish their firewalls did more. I don't know when they're going to do more. It's not really a hardware. They need the software to catch up. They're actually pretty good hardware, and they make a couple different models that are faster, but... back to the fact that you can't even assign two WAN IP addresses on the same port without editing a config file. I can do that with DDWRT and a Linksys. So, I mean, feature-wise, I don't know. I don't know where they're at. They have not been public about a roadmap of when they plan to get a revamp of features. I don't know if it's just really low priority. They're not an insecure product. They're just a product that lacks features. So, yeah. Do you hear about the SolarWinds Sentinel-1? Yeah, I think, and actually let me look this up because I'm going to Google this real quick. I want to say Sentinel-1, so Sentinel-1 Thomas Bravo. We're Googling now. So if you don't know, here, let's actually just pull up Thomas Bravo. Whoops, wrong one. That's different Thomas. Thomas Bravo companies. This is something you may find interesting. So let's talk about the space that is MSP. We've got ConnectWise. We've got Continuum. We've got Dynatrace, not really NetSpace, different space. Let's just roll down this list of companies right here. Tripwire, T2 Systems, TravelClick, SonicWall, SailPoint, Meridian Link, and I believe, what's the one you just said? Sentinel, right? Is that in this list? Mailgun. I use Mailgun. PQRS. I don't see that in the list, but SolarWinds. So they own SolarWinds. They own Digium. They own ConnectWise. So all of your big companies, every big player in the space that is the MSP space is owned by a single, well, invested in. They're a major shareholder in all of them. So it's not surprising whenever they create partnerships, because that's how Thomas Bravo is an investment portfolio specifically leaning in the tech sector. So what Thomas Bravo does is make acquisitions and investments into these companies, and because they need capital to develop out products or to increase their revenue. So what you do is you buy into and invest in these companies, and then you look at the gaps between these companies as an opportunity, going, well, guess what? If you played nice with you could make a product better. So these things are going to happen a lot, especially when there's investments like this. So that's just kind of a thing that you're going to see. It's one of those look behind the scenes a little bit when you find out the same investment firm owns them. Or, I don't know, I didn't see Sentinel-1 on Thomas Bravo's list. Maybe it could be something they own or something they have a minority shareholder in. But what you might find is the Thomas Bravo company, the CEO who owns it, is friends with the investment company that is backing the other one, and you'll see those mergers. So that's the world of publicly traded companies, and that's one of the things that I don't know that I'd ever want to go there to ever be that. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of money in it, but I'm not in this for making insane amounts of money like some of these people make, and being a CEO who pulls in $50 million a year or whatever. It's not where my goals lie. So, yeah, you are subjected to a lot of rules, and your company can be bought and sold out from under you with shareholders and everything else. So very interesting to watch all that happen. And once you take money from investors like that, you end up with those investors making a lot of suggestions of how you run your company. So I don't know any details behind it, but it is interesting. What else we got? Yeah, you can't post links in here. That's what the forums are for. Or, tag me in a Twitter post. So you have high hopes that Unify will catch up to pfSense. I'm glad you are very optimistic. I'm an optimistic person, but I'm not that optimistic. I'll throw that out there. They haven't done it yet. They're not even in the same category as pfSense when it comes to features. pfSense is one of those, just very few companies have firewalls with as many bells and whistles and features as you have inside of pfSense. It's just where pfSense is. They've been in a space a very long time to develop their product, and from a hacking perspective as well. Like when I did that video, and I know someone's going to point out that there's been more information on it, and I just haven't had time to follow up, but it's on the blog post, and my video was about the blog post as we knew it at the time on the P30, but it's one of those things. If you want a quick tool that you can quickly dig into and dive into and pull some data out of, like I showed with the P30 phone review, and how that works and how I did it with my Pixel. pfSense is a click away from doing a full PCAP, downloading it, and having some information on something on your network. So it's an absolutely amazing lab tool and setup tool for digging in information like that. It takes a long time to develop a product like that, and there's not a ton of other firewalls that have that level of features. I like Untangle too. I think Untangle makes a nice one. They have a few feature things that really are nicer than pfSense that feel really complete. But there's a lot of license fees that come with that. And for all the completeness they do have, I still kind of lean towards the way the pfSense handles things a little bit better. I just don't myself need those features, but sometimes we still sell that stuff to clients because it's a good solution. Yeah, the electric sheep have been around for a while. pfSense was a fork of, I think, MonoWall. MonoWall became pfSense. They've been doing it for like 12 or 13 years of writing open source firewall. I mean, that's a long time to be writing, because it's the same, some of the same people came over from that. So they started, I'm almost positive it's MonoWall. Maybe that'll be a fun, maybe I can get one of the pfSense people to do an interview and we'll talk about the history of pfSense, because I think it'd be kind of fun. And with any well-matured product that still has an active code base on there, you get a solid product. You get people who've been working at the same product for a long time. They get good at it. That's why it's where it is, and that's what's made it really popular. And they use the same experience. I know they're building a new product. I haven't really dove into it. It's not really on my radar for something I'm going to do. They're TensorFlow. I'm going to call it TensorFlow, but it's like TNSR. I know it's not TensorFlow. It's a completely different product, but that's what I think whenever I see TNSR. I want to say Tensor. So, hey, also, I'm glad you've learned something. And that was important. Me and Kyle, I'm sorry, not Chris. Me and Kyle talked about that. Me and Xavier talks about this a lot, so I know Xavier, is we want to be super sharing on all the knowledge. That's just hugely important. Like, we want to give all this knowledge out here. That me and Kyle's interview was like that. It's just one of those things, like, we want more people to be good at this. So many people good as we dump all of our knowledge and things like that. That's why I spend so much time going to hacker events. That's why I spend time going to hacker conventions. These are the things that I want to do to get that out there. So I think I'm going to wrap up here. I am getting a little tired, and I do have to reply to at least a few more people before I pass out. So, awesome. Running your own MSP full-time with a couple weeks ago. Best of luck, Mark. Yeah, running a full-time MSP, a lot of work, pretty hard, but I don't know. It's a passion project, and I find it rewarding. From overseas, very expensive transfer fees. We do PayPal, so PayPal's fine. I don't feel like I have to deal with too much to do with the Bitcoin exchanges back and forth. I don't like dealing with it. So I'll do PayPal. I don't want to do Bitcoin. Plus, Bitcoin's too fluctuating, and I'm not a big cryptocurrency fan, in case you couldn't tell. It doesn't solve any problems. It's novel. You can make money at it. If you use it as something you want to make money at, cool, but everything else is a mess. You have a FortiGate versus an edge router when it comes to IPsec. Good luck. IPsec, and I had this problem. We've matched up pfSense with FortiGate, pfSense with other devices. Anytime we've had a headache with it, it's always been some of the other devices or other companies. I know it's a standard, but they don't implement things in a standard, and they have their own. That's always just a headache. I recommend people, when it comes to VPNs, and you have two separate devices, don't call me. Or get ready to pay a whole lot. I won't make any guarantees to make two different brands of firewall. I guarantee they'll talk to each other. It took FortiGate support and a bunch of money and some updates to a FortiGate to get the IPsec working properly with pfSense, because the FortiGate one was unpatched, and it took a couple patch levels, which, by the way, they had to sign a contract with FortiGate to get the patches. I was confused what they had to do. And then it turns out the FortiGate sometimes quits, but you reboot it works, but then you don't have to reboot the pfSense, and it reestablishes connection. But FortiGate said it's a pfSense problem. We don't have to reboot the pfSense, and it has another IPsec connection that doesn't drop. It only drops its FortiGate connection. But if we reboot the FortiGate, the connection comes back up. I don't know, but FortiGate support says it's pfSense, and they don't recommend it. These are some of the dumb problems I have. There's always trouble when you have two mismatched firewalls and you connect them. One of my clients, or yet knowledge share, not meant to take to the grave. Yeah, I don't want to take it all to the grave. Let's see. Are you going to do dwell in a Docker? Not likely. I'm not a big Docker person. I do some Docker work. I'm not good enough to teach you how to do it. I muddle through, and I message Phil a lot. Phil does Docker, and so does Learn Linux TV. I think he may have some videos on Docker. I message Jay. That's how I figure out Docker problems, or I Google a lot. My Docker knowledge is still Stack Exchange, all right? Yeah, it's falling out after some days. The FortiGate is from another IT company. Like I said, we've had trouble specifically with IPsec and FortiGate. Now, I'll admit, FortiGate to FortiGate seems to work. FortiGate to other devices doesn't seem to work, and I don't know why. We know rebooting the FortiGate works. I don't know why. The client eventually got rid of it, and then they haven't had any more problems. They actually went with a pfSense on both ends, and their problems went away. It was aggravating. I don't know. I don't have solutions for those, and those are one of those I bill by the hour, and we guess by the hour, and I actually will email that, guessing how to get FortiGate working when not working with that. I'll put that in a stupid invoice to tell you that's what I'm going to do, because I'm not a fan of doing it, because it's one of those, it's not that I don't like a challenge. I don't like dealing with the stupid challenge of, oh yeah, can you make these two weird things work together? I'm like, no, this is not how you really should set this up. I'll do it because that apparently is where your budget is, but I can't guarantee it to work. There's exceptions. Some products I know work together well. You know, matching up different switch brands is rarely a problem, other than the fact that I currently have a company that has HP ProCurve, Cisco, and Unify switches, and VLANs across them. That works. It's just stupid because I have 3 spots to edit a VLAN every time something changes. It's not impossible to do, but it's billable. They're eventually moving all to Unify switches, so they're on one platform. They only have 2 switches left that are of non-Unify nature. So, and it's those 2 said switches. They're on their way out, slowly but surely. Oh, rebooting the Edge router works. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even like, whenever someone says I want to set up a network with VPN, what do you recommend? It comes back to pfSense or Untangle. I don't like edge routers, and the Unifies are okay for site to site. If they have Unify USGs on both ends, site to site does work. So hopefully that helps. All right, well, I'm out of here. I'm going to stop the live stream. I'm going to try and schedule the Friday one when I get a message back from Xavier of exactly what time it's going to happen so I can put that all together and make it happen. All right, take care, have fun, and catch you guys next time. Post in the forums. That's where I'll reply to all the questions.